Welcome to After the Wedding. I'm your host, Sabrina Porter. In 2025, we celebrate 20 years of hosting lovely, joy-filled weddings here at Villa Sienna. In celebration, we decided to embark on an interview project about what happens after the wedding. Thank you for joining us as we hear from couples who've been building their marriage for many years. We appreciate how they've chosen to share their joy and challenges as they navigate their life together. Okay, welcome to After the Wedding. I'm Sabrina Porter, your host, and today I am talking with Jen and Brian. Hello.
Hello.
And Jen and Brian were married here at Villa Sienna about 7 years ago. Is that right? 7 years ago. So that went by like this for me, but I know probably not for you. A lot has happened in that amount of time.
That is definitely true. It's been a bit of a whirlwind.
A whirlwind, yes. Well,
in a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yes.
A good whirlwind.
Of course.
Exactly.
Things are always changing.
Exactly. That's good. That's what keeps life fun, right? And interesting, engaging. So tell me how you met. I really appreciate you talking with us tonight. And tell me how you met.
Sure. It depends who you ask.
Huh?
It depends who you ask.
Okay.
So Jen and I worked together at Purdue in intramural sports. So we really met and became friends through that at Purdue. But we actually met like a year before that. We were in the same biology class, same lab, and every single class I would be there early. She would be there early. I would not have done my homework, and she'd let me copy her homework. I was just the guy that copied her bio homework. She had no idea for a whole year until we actually met, and I reminded her.
And she learned.
Oh no, we met before. I was the guy that copied your bio homework.
And he told me this at my apartment with my roommate, and she's like, "I've heard all about you."
Oh, okay. So you did remember him, even though you may not.
Well, I didn't necessarily remember his name, but I would come home and be like, "The guy asked to copy my homework again."
In a good way, you were happy about that, or not?
No, she was not.
A little bit annoyed.
I was, but I don't know how to say no, so I was like, "Fine, I don't want him to fail."
Okay, all right.
But he was always fun to talk to and nice. But yeah, no, you're right. We got to know each other a lot better when we were working together. We were friends for a while before we started to date. We had a good friend group, played intramural sports together, explored college.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. So then fast forward, we'll go past the engagement. And although, how did you ask her to marry you? Do you remember that?
I do, yeah. I mean, I assume that she kind of knew it was coming at some point, but not necessarily right then.
You
but
moved fast.
I did move fast. Once I was ready to tie the knot before she was. And
okay.
Once she told our friend that she was ready, we went out and bought a ring.
That day.
Okay.
Started planning it.
Pin it down quickly before she changed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, we went out hiking in the Superstitions to the Wave Cave, and we were hiking along, and I faked some injury in my ankle, and I had the ring wrapped in my ankle in a sock. I kept checking it every couple of steps and
to make sure
it was still there. I was quite worried.
And honestly, I had no idea what was happening, but I was super worried. I kept asking, like, "Are you really okay hiking? Like, why do you keep checking your ankle?" And you wore jeans, which is very not normal for him.
Right. So you had no idea.
No, I had no idea. I had told our friend that I was ready, but I think for the longest time, we both felt that you couldn't get married until you were ready to have kids.
Okay.
And I was not ready to have kids.
Okay.
Then we went to our friend's wedding and realized, wait, you can obviously be married and not have kids. You can hang out, explore life together and then have kids together.
Yeah.
So I was telling my friend that, and she was staying with us, and I went to work, and I don't know actually how it all went down, but from your stories, she came out and said, "Jen says she's ready to get married now." And he stood up and went, "Okay, cool, let's go ring shopping."
That was all I needed.
Yeah.
And that it was ready. You were ready to go.
Yeah, but I had no idea. And it was really fun because there were other people there who had taken photos before us. And I was like, "Let's go take a picture. This is such a cool cave."
Right.
And Brian asked them to take a picture of us, and the girl immediately switched to video, knew exactly what to do, and recorded the whole thing for us.
Oh, well, that was nice.
Oh, yeah, so it was super, super nice of her.
Yeah.
Did not plan that part, but
the
it
whole
worked out perfect.
Instagrammable proposal, even though you hadn't planned it.
Exactly.
Or
Well, more just for memories.
post, yes.
Yeah, I don't know if Instagram was as popular back then.
Exactly.
That was the Snapchat age.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
So it was just gone and there and gone.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking, fast forwarding a little bit then to your wedding, it was such a beautiful wedding and you were such a beautiful bride and such a handsome groom and everything was so lovely. And I am just wondering if you've thought of anything, since your wedding, have you ever thought back, like on the days when, maybe they're not your very favorite person. Have you thought back to the wedding at all? Or has there ever been times you've thought back to the wedding?
I've definitely thought back on the wedding. I think like the most common things that remind me of the wedding are if you're listening to a song and our first dance pops up.
Ah.
We had Ed Sheeran play Perfect. Well, not him personally, obviously, but the song Perfect played. And we were both very nervous for that first dance because we're not very good dancers. So we had asked someone to choreograph the dance for us and we practiced.
Oh, you practiced?
And over.
Okay.
And the night before the rehearsal, our one friend told us to not be robots because it was obviously way over practiced. And during
it's kind of a scary thing though, right?
Yeah, and everyone's watching you, standing.
Everybody, right?
Totally.
Yeah,
and
I understand that.
We were dancing and you can see in the video, like we were nailing it, we were doing good. And then my hair got caught in his watch. And then we started laughing and then you could tell we just had a good time after that. And we're chatting and singing to each other. And it was just so much fun. So I always remember that when the song comes on and think about it. And for a couple of years when we heard the song, if we were standing somewhere, we would do a couple of the dance moves.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it was really
nice.
nice.
You think you could do it?
No, not at all anymore.
Not anymore.
I forgot pretty quick. She says for like a couple of years, she might have remembered, but I don't know, maybe 3 months, and my brain just went to mush with that.
Well, it had a lot more new information that it needed to make.
Well, I'm
go.
That's partially true, and I'm also just such a terrible dancer that I really needed the repetition to continue doing it.
We had a couple of friends who were really good dancers, and the one had complimented him and said, "Wow, Brian, I didn't realize you could dance." And I think that was his moment. He was like, "Cool, I did it. Done."
Well, that's you've done it. Now it's a lifetime event. Yep. Check it off. You don't have to do it again until the wedding of. Well,
that'll be a different dance.
It'll be a different dance. Exactly. So, okay, now think a little bit about that first year of marriage. So you're on year 7. Well, you're on year 8, right? You're currently in year 8, yep. Right? And so you've had your 7th anniversary. So thinking back to that first year, what was surprising to you? What was difficult? What was easy? What felt good? What was awful?
Well, I feel like, to back up a little bit, we approached marriage a little differently. Okay. In the sense that we were together for a very long time before we got engaged. I think we had been dating for 4 or 5 years before we got engaged. So we were already living together.
Okay.
So we were living together. We had kind of worked through what we didn't like about each other, if you did this, I didn't care for it, all of those situations. Mm-hmm. And I know that's not for everyone, but we felt it was really important to make sure that we could live together because we've heard stories from both families of people who love each other but couldn't live together. Mm-hmm. We lived together and worked through all of that. So
you worked through some of the things prior to that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. But still,
Well, it allowed us, though, we got married and then we bought a house. We got some dogs. I mean, we had a pretty eventful year full of new things.
Yeah.
But it wasn't quite we're trying to figure out how it is to live with each other.
Because you'd lived together before, you kind of understood some of that, and then you were ready for dogs or ready.
Right. We knew exactly what we wanted to do when we were married finally.
Exactly. Well, if you were to back up during that time when you first moved in together, what do you remember about that?
That was so long ago. We were talking about that on the way over.
Remember? Okay.
Well, I think that was 11 or 12 years ago now.
Okay.
You had to get comfortable with each other. I'm a little bit messier. She's definitely a clean freak. So there's that. There's trying to work your way through that to not be mean to each other about their habits, but also still live the way that you want to live.
Exactly.
There's learning that you're just together the whole time. So sometimes bodily functions happen. You got to just deal with it. It's fine.
Yeah, but I think at that point too, once you get comfortable with that sort of thing, then you're truly comfortable with someone and have built that trust with each other.
Right. Which is really nice.
I remember actually standing here when we were giving our vows to each other, talking about how much I did not care for the pile of clothes he leaves by the bed, and that I was hoping one day that would change, but it's a permanent fixture in our house.
So that's just what it is.
It's just what it is.
It's what it is.
Gonna have to live with it, I guess.
Exactly. Well, that's one of the things about marriage and about having your person is that person comes with the whole package and some of those things you just have to kind of go with, right?
Yeah, it's compromise.
Get used to.
Exactly.
Get a little bit used to some of those things. Do you remember that we're backing up a little bit? Were you looking for anything in particular in a spouse, or did either of you did anyone have a list, or did you have, that seems to be a thing?
Personally, I didn't have like a list. I wanted someone who made me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted someone loyal. I wanted someone who was caring and understanding and could be my partner in life. We both played sports. I really wanted to be a team.
Oh, nice.
I wanted someone who was my friend first. I know it's actually a lot of things after saying I didn't really have a list.
Yeah,
I didn't have like a specific list.
Sounds like a pretty comprehensive list.
Well, I just
misorganization there.
Brian, you
just wanted someone who's going to clean. I'm the cook, so I figured no. I wanted someone that was adventurous and would want to travel and play sports, hike, just do things on a whim. I definitely wanted a teammate as well. I mean, again, I think that's a big part of both of our lives is playing sports, just our competitive nature, but channeling that in a way that makes for a good relationship.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah. Being a partnership does really bring a lot of, what do you feel like it brings to you together? I mean, I know for me, it's like it gives me a real sense of safety, a real platform to be able to do other things that we want to do individually and as a team. But
yeah,
I think it helps. It helps us navigate any challenges that come up, and in the same way you can play to each other's strengths. If there's a challenge that we have that we're trying to make a decision about or something like that. Well, if Jen knows a whole lot more about it, we're probably going to lean towards what she thinks is the best thing to do. And if neither of us know, we're just going to go out together and ask someone what they think that is more knowledgeable, and just figuring it out together versus, trying to
battle.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, no, we were definitely very open and listened to each other. But I think we're two halves of a whole. He has things he's good at. I have things that I'm good at, and we play to that strength. But like he mentioned, we're also very competitive. So sometimes that makes things a little more challenging and interesting.
That both of you are competitive.
Yes, we both like to win. Board games are a very interesting thing in our household.
So do you play each other? Do you play against each other?
Yes, and it's annoying because he always wins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so he is, but
not even that.
Maybe
I don't
cheating.
cheat. I don't cheat.
No, he's not cheating. He's the luckiest
very
person alive.
Really? Take that boy to Vegas.
It's better to be lucky than good sometimes, I say.
There you go.
That's very true.
Exactly.
He was actually recently out of town. We had a couple of friends over and we played a board game and they were like, okay, guys, Brian's not here. We can actually win.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So are you strategic in your board game?
I try to be. I like to think I'm a couple steps ahead in many board games.
Anticipating.
And then so, it's funny because I either win or I get dead last.
It is true. It's
Like if my strategy works amazingly or it just totally flops.
Yeah.
And then, it is what it is.
Interesting. No, that's fun. That's fun that you enjoy doing that together. What other kinds of things do you enjoy doing together? You like to travel. I know that.
Oh, yes. We definitely
love
love to travel
traveling.
and explore. I like exploring new things with you, or sharing things I really enjoy. I've always really enjoyed horseback riding, and he hadn't really ridden horses before we met.
Oh, wow.
And now he goes riding with me whenever we can. Any opportunity we can, we go riding.
Yeah.
We go to dude ranches, and we'll go there for a whole week. And At first, I think you were just being a good sport, but now you have
Definitely.
definitely
The real
learned to love
question
it.
is, will he wear a cowboy hat while he does it?
Oh, 100%.
Oh.
He wears a cowboy bag. That
Oh,
is
and
important.
boots and a belt buckle?
The whole thing.
Oh, yes.
Whole kit and
The
caboodle.
whole kit.
All
Our,
right.
our anniversaries, the gifts, we do the traditional things.
Okay.
So, like, year one was paper. This year was metal of some sort. 1 year, it was leather. So I bought him a really cool ostrich leather belt.
Oh, that's
And we
fun.
had found a belt buckle at an antique store.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all made of turquoise and everything. And he rocks that when we go to the rodeo or go horseback riding and stuff.
Okay, so then you really are a true Arizonan.
I'm trying to. I mean, it's been now 10 years since we've moved here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost 11.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from the Chicago area.
Chicago. Okay.
Yeah. Very, very different.
So there aren't
From
too many
Arizona.
turquoise belt buckles in Chicago. No.
Not too many. No.
No.
I never found one.
I don't know if you were looking either.
No, definitely not. Definitely.
Well, speaking of where you're from, tell me a little bit about family and how family has played a role in just your relationship. And
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that we both grew up in wonderful households. Both of our parents are still married.
Yeah.
My grandparents were married until death did them part.
mm-hmm.
I don't know as much about your grandparents, and you didn't really know them that much either.
I only knew my grandpa. Everyone else had passed before I
Yeah.
came around. But he was married to his wife until she passed as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we come from a strong background of people finding the right person and making a commitment to that person. And I think that those values were instilled in us young to just see how our parents were and how they are, how they interact with us.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really like stuck in my mind as I want something like what they have. And keeping that in mind is, just trying to find someone who's your best friend that you can just be with forever.
Well, and it's different too to hear someone say like, commitment's important. This is how I'm committed to this person or, X, Y, or Z, than living it and seeing it all the time and watching your parents actually disagree about something and go take a step back and go, okay, well, actually, this is what we need to talk about, or this is how you're making me feel. And not everyone actually has that opportunity. So we're both very lucky in that sense, but
Mm-hmm.
it's different to just really experience it versus hear about it.
Do you
sometimes.
remember seeing your parents argue?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good. That's
My parents have a healthy working yelling relationship.
yeah, they work through things.
Yes, they definitely are very good at that.
Yes, working through things and then
They are
coming
definitely
through for one another when they have big challenges too.
They are definitely the opposite attract
Right.
people.
Right.
And with that comes arguments. And there's nothing wrong with that because they have figured out how to work through that. So I've definitely seen them battle through those things before.
That's good.
Yes, they're stronger because of it.
They're what?
Stronger.
Right. I know I saw a statistic that was about, it said that basically people who get divorced don't argue any more than people who don't get divorced.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that interesting? You'd think that it wouldn't be the case, but yeah, that it's not so much the number of arguments, it's the way they get worked out.
Right.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, if you're saying something in the heat of the battle and it's hurtful, you can sit with someone and fester
Exactly.
versus being open and respectful and listening to each other.
Right. Or you say something in the heat of battle and then you either get to go back and address it or it just gets pushed under the rug. Right?
Well, that's part of arguing too. You have to be okay with forgiving each other. And forgiving each other isn't about necessarily just saying, I accept your apology. It's about really talking to each other, saying what upset you, and then making sure not to do that again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. So let's talk a little bit about conflict if we can.
Yeah.
Because, well, of course, in the fairy tale world, no one ever has conflict over anything. But in the real world, with real humans and real relationships, that's certainly not the case, right?
Yes, everything's not Disney.
Everything's not Disney, right? So tell me a little bit about how you guys approach it when you don't see eye to eye on something. And also, if you notice any precursors that you think, oh yeah, whenever this happens, then we usually end up in an argument. I mean, but however you want to talk about conflict, tell me how you...
Well, I'm going to let Brian address that one first because
Sure.
I think he honestly taught me how to communicate.
Oh, excellent.
Jen liked to hold things close if we were in an argument, or
If she's upset, she shuts down a little.
if she's upset, she'd just kind of keep everything in
Right.
and, get frustrated. And you can tell that she was frustrated. Didn't really want to talk about things. But I think communication is so important to working through really anything.
Right.
And I would just, she'd get even angrier, but I would just force her to talk to me about what it was that was upsetting her. I would just poke the bear a little bit.
Just can't keep saying we're going to talk about
we're going to talk about this. Just, and I think over time that evolved into, that's just how we deal with things is we talk about things. If you're upset about something I did, you tell me that you're upset about something I did and this is why, and how do we fix that? And we work through it, because if you just hold things in, it doesn't really help anyone.
Right.
It doesn't help you feel better.
Go away.
It doesn't go away because your partner doesn't know what might have happened.
Yeah.
Right.
And even if they do, being able to talk about it is helpful. Even if I know that I did something wrong, yes, I should apologize. I should try and work through it. But there could be a little nuance of why that was a bad thing that I don't know until she tells me. And then I might just do it again and again and again.
Or maybe one part of it, so you were late and you think it's because you were late, but it was actually that you were late and you didn't call. So it was really just that you didn't call.
That one happens quite often.
I bet. I think that sometimes, if people like things just so and their schedule and such, it's nice to if someone's like that, it's nice to let them know.
Yeah. Well, and like if you're upset about something too, I still think he's better at it than I am, honestly. But let me back up. So you'll sometimes be like, I can tell you're upset, or I don't want to keep it in, and I know that we've been working on that. And I'll just be like, I just want to preface that this might not come out well.
Right.
But I'm upset because of this.
And it's going to tumble out, and it might not be pretty, but I
gotta say it. Exactly.
Yes.
Well, I think it's important to, you don't have to know exactly how to say everything perfectly and PC or whatever. But when she wants to say something about something she's upset with, or if I want to say something about something I'm upset with, the other person has to understand that, hey, this might not come out pretty.
Might not be
just
perfect.
Listen. It's going to be okay. I'm not it's not the end of the world. I'm just communicating. And then we figure out what the problem is from there and how to fix it.
And I think another strong thing that we do is we let the other person fully say what they're going to say.
Oh, you wait patiently.
Yeah, versus interrupting.
Instead of waiting to talk and then just so you can really listen.
So I feel like sometimes, and we've had this discussion before, where he'll say something and I'll interrupt, or I'll say something and he'll interrupt, and then it changes actually what you were trying to say, and then you don't loop back. So then again, things get left unsaid.
Yeah.
They get left unsaid. That's a really good point. So 2 things you've said that I really want to emphasize is the first one, that you preface the conversation. You preface when you're going to say something. And I think that preface can really be helpful, because when you're upset, if you say, I really, really love you, and I'm going to say this thing and it may not come out right. So just know that I know this is probably tumbling on itself a little bit. But then, so that's really awesome. And then really saying, we're really letting the other person have room to say what they need to say.
Yes.
So we can hear them fully before we just jump right back in.
Well, and I think it's also important to take time, if you need to figure out how to respond.
Oh, I love that.
It's both, like she might be mad about something and she's been thinking about that all day and is finally getting to a place where we can talk about it.
Right.
Well, then if I didn't know what was going on,
You're coming in cold.
I'm coming in cold.
Yeah.
So I might need a minute or even an hour or what have you to think about it, figure out how I want to respond. And then I think that it leads to a lot fewer yelling matches
or misunderstandings.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you might get misunderstandings, but they're not as heated. It's just a lot more controlled. And when you're controlled, you can figure things out a lot easier.
So insightful. That's just amazing. You guys are so young and you've figured out all these great things. Do you feel like say Jen comes at you and she's hot, she's coming in hot, she's not happy.
That's normally the case.
No matter what it is, right? But that's okay. Some people have that good, fiery, energetic personality, and it's the person is in the package and that's what comes. And sometimes it doesn't all.
I love the fieriness. It's all right.
Yeah, exactly. He loves all those parts of you.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. But I love that you're saying the pause, giving yourself a little bit of a pause so that you can process what it is, because you might actually have a few questions.
Mhm.
You want clarifying questions just to make sure you understand it correctly. What is actually the problem? And right?
Yes. And while we pause, I don't think we pause too long either.
Okay.
We won't go to bed without finishing the discussion.
Okay.
Even if we have to stay up late, we're going to at least try to have found a place where we're calmer and happier with each other. Maybe the whole thing isn't resolved, but
Yeah.
him and I always go to bed and say, I love you, and kiss each other. We're not going to
Good.
argue and then go to bed and then wake up and
Yes.
it's festered again and it's a whole problem.
Right. It depends on. I used to be a big believer in work it all out before you go to sleep, but as I've gotten older, I'm more like, let's get some sleep and hit this in the morning. But I'm a big fan of holding hands. So holding hands, even if you're not the happiest with your partner
that's
at
cute.
the moment, wait until you're calmer and wait until everyone's had something to eat and
No, that's an important one.
some sleep. Yeah. Food's big.
Yes.
It's big.
I'm not hangry at all sometimes.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Right? So, well, it sounds like you guys have worked out some really, worked out some things and have come up with some strategies. I like to think of it as strategies and tactics, because you've decided you're staying with this person. This is your person. And so tell me a little bit about commitment. Tell me how you feel about commitment.
I am.
Hi, Emma.
I know. Do we want to do a little?
No, it's
timeout
just
here?
going to get worse, honestly, probably. If I
Okay.
go out there, then she won't want
It
to
will
let
be
go.
worse. Okay, so we'll just.
Reed's got this.
So just speaking a little bit about commitment,
Mhm.
what does that mean to you? What are your interpretations of that, and how does that come through in your marriage?
Well, for me, it's putting someone else's needs before your own. Brian is very good at being my rock. He's steadfast while also being really thoughtful, but he will always make sure I'm okay and be my biggest advocate. I think that's just really choosing to commit to someone.
Mhm.
He's decided that, all right, for the best, for the worst, I'm going to be with her. Sometimes I don't know, not always the nicest, or sometimes
it's not your very best self.
Yes, exactly.
Showing up, right?
But he always shows up. He's always there no matter what, and that's commitment to me.
Mm-hmm. And you feel his commitment, and yours is putting his needs above yours sometimes, putting someone else's needs above your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you need to. What about you, Brian?
I think, you have to have loyalty to that person. You have to always have their back, even if they're wrong. You just have to have their back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's certainly there's great times, there's fine times, and there's bad times. But I think being committed is that it doesn't really matter. That's the person I want to be with, no matter what, come rain or shine. And you kind of always just go back to that person, even if you have some issues or whatever.
You restrain yourself from pushing them down the stairs, and you say, all right, we're going to work this out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's my best friend. He was my best friend before we started dating. When something exciting happens or something bad or I'm annoyed at something, he's the first person I want to tell.
Even if she's annoyed at me.
That is true. I will tell him that.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I was at work and something frustrated me, and I called him because I wanted to tell him.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. So you've found your person, and you've committed to your person, right? And even though it doesn't always go perfectly, still coming back.
Yeah.
I'd say there's more good times than bad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
We have a lot of fun.
So let's talk about that for a minute. How do you build connection when when things are busy, work, and
Oh, gosh.
all of the commitments you've got? And
Well, it's a work in progress.
Uh-huh.
I feel like every time we get something figured out, then something new comes along and it disrupts the whole plan.
Okay.
Like we have our daughter now. She just turned 2, and we're not the best at date night. at all because we just want to spend time with her, but we definitely need to make sure we spend time with each other and for ourselves. So we have been trying to do date nights at home. Sometimes they include her. Like
Once she's in bed, you can lay out your picnic on the living room floor. And...
Well, she's a late night.
Oh, she's late.
Yeah, sometimes we just include her, but it's still just something we want to do. And
she gets to be a part of it.
Okay.
Or sometimes we'll stay up late and like it's nothing special or extravagant, but we'll put our pajamas, and watch like our show that no one else can watch without each other and have a sweet treat.
Yeah.
We've gotten 2-person board games.
Okay, 2-person board games. Yes. I love that.
That's always exciting. We get really going on those.
Yeah. And I travel a fair amount for work too. So when I'm gone, trying to call or FaceTime has been nice, even if it's just for 2 minutes to hear each other's voice before bed, kind of thing. And especially now with having Emma, it's really great to be able to see both my girls before I go to bed.
Oh,
that's always nice when I'm traveling and super busy.
Yeah, being able to just connect again when you're traveling. It's nice that you have FaceTime now.
Yeah,
FaceTime's super nice.
Yeah, and all the years before when there wasn't that, that made it a lot harder.
Definitely. And I think really, I mean, for me, it's just about being together. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I mean, sometimes we plan all these really great adventures. We'll travel or we'll plan a really fun weekend that he's in town. But just being at home, spending time together makes me really happy too.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And taking that time. So are there any things about each other that you've felt like, okay, maybe give me one thing that you just absolutely love about your partner and one thing you've learned to accept? I know we talked a little about the pile of clothes, so maybe you already have that one as something to accept.
Yeah, that's definitely something I've had to accept.
Yeah.
I love how organized she is while also just keeping everything in line. I know that sounds like two of the same thing, but she's very organized to like keep our life going on, our calendar and just things like I would have no idea what I was doing without her organizing my life.
Okay.
But then she also keeps me in touch with all of our friends. She's just great at keeping up with people, including, frankly, my family. She keeps up with on my behalf. But I just love that she's able to juggle all those things and stay organized with it all. It's like an impossible task for me.
We always tease a little bit. Someone will be like, Brian, I haven't heard from you in ages. And I'll be like, well, I'm married to him and gave him a kid and he still doesn't text me.
He said what? I'm married and what?
Oh, he'll jokingly say like, well, I'm married to Jen and she gave me a kid, but I still don't text her.
Oh, there you go. You don't need to because she's got it all under control.
Right, exactly.
That's good.
For me, I think with that comes kind of, sometimes I get a little overstimulated and high strung. I'm very type A, and he is always the calm in the storm. He's always being very thoughtful and thinking of ways to calm me down or to make me a little more spontaneous. And you just are always thinking about how to make me happy, how to make Emma happy, how to make our lives better. I love that about you.
Thank you.
I love that. That's very sweet. You didn't have anything about Jen that you have realized you just are going to have to accept.
I definitely have to accept her OCD when it comes to cleaning. It's one thing to put the dishes in the dishwasher that night. It's another thing to scrub down all the countertops and put, especially now with the 2-year-old, putting all the toys exactly where they belong. I don't even know where they all belong. But it takes some time every single night, and then the house looks wonderful, and I love that part. But sometimes I just don't get it. Let's just sit down and watch TV. Nope, got to clean up, got to do this.
Reset the house.
Okay. You reset, you do your thing.
Exactly. And are there times when Jen's a nurse and Brian works in staging, we'll say? Are there times when Jen's gone and you're home getting things ready for when she gets back? Or how does that work?
Yeah, if I'm in town, I mean, I typically am the one who's cooking dinner. So if I'm in town,
general, anyway,
and no one wants me to cook.
Okay, so food is your world.
That's my world. If she's working and I'm in town, I'll typically, I'll do my best to get the house in order, knowing full well that she's still going to go through and
in the wrong place.
Yes, she's still going to change it, no matter how many times. No matter how many times I put the toys away, she's still going to rearrange them. But and then try to have dinner on the table with Emma's sleep schedule and how she operates, sometimes it's more challenging to like time when it's dinner and when it's actually time for her to go to bed, and then we just eat cold dinner later. But I try to get things in order.
He does a great job. I recognize that I have very high expectations of it, and I know where things are supposed to go, and I like things in a certain way, and I notice if it's moved, and I understand that everyone is not like that. That's just my thing.
Right.
But the fact that I come home, it's all put away, he tidied up, and there's food, you can't ask for much more than that.
That is, I think.
Especially after a really long day.
Exactly. Right. Everybody's doing their best. So cutting each other a little slack. You mentioned earlier something about really holding on to, really working with forgiveness when you are, just that reminded me of it. Did you want to talk about that at all? About just kind of having forgiveness in your heart for your spouse when they're not doing what you want them to do?
Well, I think we're both really open and respect each other. So like he was saying, he understands that I want something a certain way and he's going to try. Mm-hmm. And I respect that he tried to do that, but I like it a certain way, and we're okay with that. It's not like I could see someone trying to do that and then being upset that then someone else went in and moved everything around and be like, well, I did do that. Mm-hmm. But he still respects the way I am. And I guess that's forgiveness to a certain extent.
And I think that there's forgiveness of the little things, don't sweat the little things. And that you have to have, because if the little things just get to you and cause huge problems, how are you going to handle the big things?
Yeah.
So I think that you have to be able to forgive. And I don't know that it has to be all big things, even little tiny things like me forgetting to put the toys away before she gets home. She'll forgive me, and I'm going to do it again, and she'll forgive me again.
Yeah.
And I think that's important as a baseline. I think that helps mitigate a lot of conflict that doesn't have to be conflict. It's just a thing that you recognize that your partner does or doesn't do.
Exactly. So shifting gears a little bit to decision making. So one of the things about, today's modern world is that people are in partnerships. I think that we have many, many more partnerships than marriages where one person is calling the shots and the other person is saying, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. Yeah. That's not really what relationships today are like. And so thinking about decisions and making decisions together, how do you go about that so that things feel right for you and it doesn't feel like there is a lot of conflict in making decisions?
Well, I think Brian had touched on this a little bit earlier, saying if one of us is more knowledgeable about something, we'll defer to that person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But otherwise, we both try really hard to understand each person's side of, like, let me back up. Like, if I want something, I'm going to explain why I want something to be the way it was, or I think that this is important to it, and he'll explain those viewpoints that he has as well. Mm-hmm. And then we'll find common ground or come in the middle and be like, okay, well, this is actually, I think, the best thing for us to do based on what you said. Or, you said that one thing, actually, I hadn't thought of that. So I think it'd be really nice if we were focusing on that more. Mm-hmm. I don't think we ever just like one person go, this is what's happening, unless it comes to food.
When it comes to food?
Yes.
Who's the fake food dictator?
I was going to say him.
Well, the decision-making process of what we're having for food or what we need for food,
right? That's
all Jen.
Okay.
I'll throw out options galore because I'll eat anything anytime. It doesn't really matter to me.
Right. Okay.
But yes, you're the decision maker in the food thing. Mm-hmm. I think that with large decisions, mm-hmm. we try to do our research and talk about things to try and figure out what we think is the best. If we can't decide, we talk to other people, like both sets of parents and siblings, and trying to help figure out or navigate some sort of decision. And then other times, frankly, we just wing it.
You just go.
We just go for it. Just like, you know what? It's going to be this, and we'll deal with the consequences, whatever it is.
Yeah,
and we deal with it, and we deal with it together.
Yeah.
I think Brian and I both like to operate under following our gut.
Interesting. Yeah, there's actually some research on decision making that I was listening to a woman, she was talking about, there are people who spend really a lot of energy on figuring out how to make the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
And her research was showing that the more important skill is figuring out how to make your decision right.
Mm-hmm.
How to take whatever decision you've made and then make it work.
Yes.
Make it be successful.
You can't backtrack. You got to stick with what you've decided and move forward.
Make it be successful. So speaking of big decisions, tell me a little bit about your decision to have Emma. How did that happen?
Well, I think him and I both always wanted kids. It wasn't a discussion of like, do you want a kid or this or that. It was more of a discussion on when should we have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had mentioned earlier, we both kind of thought you had to be married before you had a kid.
Right.
And then once we realized that was different, we're like, well, what do we want to do before we have a kid?
Mm-hmm.
I think we both felt it was really important to get in a certain place in our careers, financially stable. We wanted to travel. Remember the year before we had Emma, we did a lot of travel.
Went everywhere. Okay.
Yeah, all of our friends were jokingly like, are you actually ever in town?
Yeah.
We just not that we weren't going to do those things with her, but we wanted to experience them together, do things as a married couple, really have a strong foundation before the little dictator was telling us what to do.
So that was a big decision. So you just decided at one point, okay,
it was very similar to when we got engaged. I was ready, just waiting for her.
Oh, okay. There you go. So you had a baby rattle strapped to your ankle.
Yeah, something like that.
Well,
No, I think having a child it's a much bigger step.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's a little bit more of a commitment on my end,
And yes,
especially at the beginning.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
not the most fair group project.
It is not the most fair group project.
That's my line.
I love that.
You can say it.
Well, I always jokingly told people when we were pregnant that it was the worst group project I've ever been a part of because he showed up for 5 minutes and then I had to do the rest.
Exactly.
You don't have to put a time on it.
Then exactly. Except that then he's going to be there for the
remainder,
rest of her life.
No, Brian's the best dad, but it was just
no.
I was teasing.
A good joke.
Yes,
I like that.
Well, and I think that it did help that we both wanted kids from the get-go.
Yeah.
That was never part of the discussion or
right. That would be a much harder discussion.
She wanted 4.
Oh my.
I wanted 2.
I think he's going to win that.
I think I'm going to win that battle. I think she's over that after the first one.
A lot. Yeah.
I am.
Hi, sweetie.
But she's absolutely wonderful and definitely the best decision we've ever made.
Well, she just enriches our lives and makes everything just so much better.
And so much joy, isn't it?
So much joy.
Shocking how much joy.
It's amazing to
brings.
watch everything through her eyes for the first time. You get to relive it
you
with
get
her.
To enjoy. It really does teach you about better how to enjoy, experience happiness that someone else is.
And to be present. And
yes.
I don't know. I just remember her first Christmas. It was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Christmas isn't fun. We love Christmas. My family jokes that Christmas is our Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We love to get the perfect gift for someone. We love decorating. We love being together and enjoying each other's company.
Mm-hmm.
But just watching her even just play in a pile of wrapping paper was just so much fun. And listen to the giggle because, it's just pure, innocent.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so fun. I'm so happy for you guys. She's just adorable.
Thank you.
We may even meet her if she wants to come in here.
She runs in.
Yes, exactly. Has it changed your life quite a bit, having a child?
100%.
Do you feel like, that's been a big change.
Yeah.
It's been a big change. Obviously it's going to change. You're now taking care of another person. You are completely in charge of this or responsible for this person's life. She's dependent on us.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that it's brought us closer together now because
you're in the group project. You're in full group project mode.
That is very true, but also we have to be more mindful of what the other needs so that way we can be our best selves to take care of her and be in charge of her well-being.
Mm-hmm.
So if one of us isn't our best self, it's just going to make everything harder.
Yeah.
So we have to take moments to advocate for the other and be like, hey, you look really tired. Maybe you should sleep in tomorrow. Or,
so nice.
Hey, I think you need to go and hang with the girls or something like that. Or
you need a break. I can tell you need a break.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or sometimes I'll call him and be like, when are you coming home from work? I really need you to come and take your daughter.
Yes. Now.
Yes, please come home. And he'll come right home and be like, okay, mama's going to go shower, do this. Just, take a moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, before Emma joins us, let me ask you just one last question. And that is kind of, if you were to float back in time to your younger self, okay, before you got married, is there any advice you'd give to yourself, about, because, you're growing and learning and you've probably learned a lot. And are there things that you feel like you'd share with your younger self?
Well, I feel like Brian and I have kind of grown up together.
Mm.
We were very fortunate and met each other pretty young. We were 20, 19. I don't know. So we've learned a lot of very important life adulting skills that I think most people have already learned or have started to learn, and then they have to come together at the end to figure out like the end result.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, him and I were exploring college together, then we got our first big girl, big boy job together,
Mm-hmm.
figured out how to be financially responsible,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
the advice I would give my younger self, I think, is the best is yet to come.
Oh.
It just gets better and better.
Oh, that's sweet. That's so hopeful and optimistic. I love that. That's
It's
wonderful.
true. I mean,
Yeah.
I love all the times we've had together, but I don't know. Like recently we had this fun weekend where we drove up north and just played in the snow together, and it was totally spontaneous and it was amazing.
Oh, wonderful.
And it was just so much fun.
I
And,
love it.
we did different things when we were younger, and it's so nice.
So you just keep making joy happen at every stage.
Yeah.
You just keep bringing things that are happy and fun together. So I love that. Best is yet to come. What about you, Brian? Would you tell him something else? Would you
I don't
give
know
him
that I
some
would.
advice?
I think that the adventure that we've been having and will continue to have has just been the best thing ever. I don't know that there's advice other than like just keep doing what you were going to do.
Just keep going.
Just keep going on that
keep
path.
Swimming, just like Dory.
Right,
just
exactly.
Keep swimming.
Because there's certainly nothing I would change about how we met and how our relationship grew from friends to dating to now. I think any advice would just be to stay the course, because the best is yet to come. I think that's a great way to say it.
Oh,
It just keeps getting better.
Well, I love that. That's so sweet. Do you mind if we let Emma come in and say hi?
She would love it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Reed, do you think Emma could come in and say hi for a minute?
Hi, sweetie. Can you come to Mama?
Do you want to come say hi?
My gosh.
Do you want to be on camera too?
Hi, sweet girl. Hi, baby. How are you?
Mommy.
Yes, how are you with Mama and Dada? Yeah. How are you?
What'd you say, my mama and dada?
She said my mama happy.
Oh, your mama happy.
My mama's very
Do
happy.
you want to show your magic shoes?
Want to show off your sparkly shoes?
Show your pure, pretty magic shoes.
And my dad.
You want to go to Dada now? Okay.
Watch out for the microphone.
And on couch.
Oh, you're going to be on your own couch? Okay.
Okay. This little independent.
There she is.
Okay.
Okay, you take your bracelet off.
She's
She definitely knows what she wants.
she's quite.
She knows what she
and
wants.
she's clear and tells you.
Do
wanna
you
say
feel
something?
like she's more like you, Jen? More like Brian? Is
I honestly think she's a really good mix of both of us.
she a mix of both?
I think just because of the blonde and blue eyes, everyone's like, she looks just like you. She's totally you, but
Personality-wise,
she's very both of us.
a little more. Oh, that's
Yeah, and it's so fun to see like
Dada.
Brian emerge or me emerge, and there's sometimes where she'll do something and he'll look at me and be like, oh, that's totally you. Or reverse, the role or something.
You want me to have a pillow? Okay.
Oh,
Oh, thank you so much.
so
Thank you.
taking such good care of.
She is.
Hello?
Yes.
You
Does
get
he
on
need a
the
pillow
mama?
too?
And
That's your pillow?
Got your
Okay.
pillow.
this was my
These are all your pillows?
They're all your pillows.
No, I was like, I don't think they are.
She can be very demanding, though.
Yes, exactly. She knows what she wants.
That might be from me.
That's okay. That's one of the things that marriage teaches you. You learn a little more about yourself.
And are accepting of
And
what's good and what's bad.
accepting of the whole package.
Exactly,
Right?
that is
Accepting The
true.
whole package. I love that. Oh my gosh.
Okay, sweetie. You taking a nap?
Oh, there goes your pillow.
Where'd it go? Hopefully she doesn't jump over.
She would.
She would just leap right over there.
I think that's Brian. She's fearless.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But don't touch this. Yeah, you can touch
Well,
the
I have so enjoyed talking
No,
with
we don't
both
climb
of
on the
you
table.
and meeting Emma. Oh, I've met Emma before, but seeing her tonight, and
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. And
course.
thank you so much for sharing
Yes,
all
thank
of
you
your
for having
amazing
us.
advice and thoughts and on how you're making it work. I just think that everyone, is so excited about the wedding, and we love hearing about how it is after the wedding. And
It's really fun to be here again.
well, good.